So we talk a lot about climate changes, and most of your research focusing on how to make environmentally friendly changes to the way we produce our energy. But I don't know much myself about the modern research, modern climate research, but like what I've done in my research career, like I studied a long sedimentary course through marine sediments, and then investigated ice cores from Greenland, and like from that research, like it's obvious that even before humans came to this planet, like 100, 200,000 years ago, there were periods in the Earth's history when the level of CO2 was higher than it is now. And I guess it's linked to volcanic activity. And so what's your personal opinion? Is climate change something which can be assigned to natural variations of climate, which is happening anyway on the global scale of the development of the planet, or is it really human-made? Like,
I have no doubts that humans are having a major impact in the level of CO2 in the atmosphere. And I have no doubt that we are having warmer temperatures now than any other time in human habitation of a developed world. And I have friends who tell me that the world has been warmer, that volcanoes produce loads of CO2. I think what's the perspective now is that the world may have been warmer and the levels may have been higher, but we live where we live. So I'm blessed to live at the edge of the ocean. I'm at 6 meters above ordnance datum. The tide takes half of my garden and it goes back out. I mean, if we consider global warming, sea level rise, the problem is we lose cities. We will lose Cork. We will lose where I live. We will lose Kinsale. So I think the big problem with climate change is that humans, and there is an awful lot of us, there is 7 billion of us now on this planet, and we're living close to oceans. And if there is going to be sea level rise, our habitats will be destroyed. So it's fine to say the oceans have been higher. It's fine to say that...
but they've been lower as well. Like
they have
during the
been
glacial
lower,
period, they were like 120 meters, like 20,000 years ago. You could have walked to France. Yeah?
But
so,
the problem is we have spent billions and billions and billions in building cities and domiciling billions and billions of people near the ocean. And should we have the sea level rise, we will have problems in our cities, in our towns, in our habitats, and it will affect other mammals on this planet, birds on this planet. So the climate change has and will have bigger impacts, and we're going to have more hurricanes, more freak events. The 1 in 50-year flood will become a 1 in 5-year flood. I mean, 2 years ago we had snow like I've never seen before where I live. And then we had a hurricane in the same year. So we had 3 weeks of snow.
So more extreme weather conditions.
We get more extreme weather conditions. So warmer atmospheres will lead to warmer temperatures, which will lead to storms, which leads to snow spells, to disruption to existing patterns.
But then on a longer time scale, if you look as a geologist, like at the geological time scale, you know, like they were glacial, interglacial, and like they repeat on a let's say 100,000 year cycle. So following this logic, in another 50,000 years time, we should have another glacial and 200 meters of ice above Cork.
So may it be, but I'm a civil engineer. And as a civil engineer, we build infrastructure, and our design period is the next 50 years. So, you know, as a civil engineer, if we're designing sea walls or anything near the ocean, we have to design for global warming, and we're looking at we're looking at storms that occur at the highest astronomical tide, and we have a lot of concerns for existing infrastructure.
So basically, you're thinking, as an engineer, you're thinking on the scale of a lifespan of a person rather than on the lifespan of a planet.
Yeah, so I'm thinking 40, 50 years. And this has to be considered because, you know, I won't be around in 1,000 years or a million years. And most of my children and grandchildren will be dead in the next 150 years. And this is the extent of this accelerated change. So if we were to build a new city, I think we'd probably look at something
up in the mountains,
50 meters with a plentiful source of water nearby. I mean, in India at the moment, they're looking at major droughts, and I've family in Australia, and they really are struggling greatly with. They've given up names: the great drought, the biggest drought, the worst drought, the hardest drought. They haven't enough names to describe the droughts that they have and the temperature variation, and there's times when people don't leave the house because it's over 42, 43 degrees Celsius. So we're making the world less habitable and less comfortable for us. I mean, no one is saying that the world's going to blow up. What we're saying is where we live and what we do and our level of comfort is going to change greatly.